Okay, Friday, 5th of June 2026. So, Adrian's daily vlog, sharing smart stuff men should know. Egalitarian backlash, a rejection of toxic equality. Now, I've done some videos in the past about having to keep your finger on the pulse of the zeitgeist of the moment, of the time, and of the epoch, knowing where the general mood and trend is going, and even now we could even say how the frame that is determining the society and the world we live in is changing. The defining frame, the defining ethos or myth, or both really we could say, how it is changing and how that's affecting everything, because it's having a downstream effect on every single thing. And there seems to be a general rejection. I got three interesting theories that I've discussed in the past before other videos, but also there seems to be a bit of a rejection of toxic equality. Equality is dead. Long live the hierarchy. Long live meritocracy. A meta death to mediocrity. Nice and elegant, bit fancy, a little philosophical, ever so slightly poetic, but nonetheless. Meaning, we are seeing a rejection of equality happening across the West with regards to acknowledging and understanding differences between people, the good, bad, and ugly between people, and its IQ level, and other things like that that are a bit controversial to say, depending on where you happen to reside. But there's a rejection of equality happening, and that kind of makes sense, because I can imagine and envision in, say, 15 to 30 years from now, with the same trajectory, that equality will be seen as quite rather naive, will be seen as a bit disrespectful, actually, to say, I have achieved and created and built and done all these things, and yet this other person, we're not equal. Of course we're not equal. I have these things, and this one objectively has less stuff, or even has achieved, done, created, knows fewer things. So why politically, emotionally, socially, why are we treated as equals? That is that rejection of the merit of the equality. No, we're not equal because I objectively have more things, and we see that being played out in society now. I mean, this is an interesting case right now, probably a watershed moment in the grand scheme of things, and as we look back, of this death of Henry Novak, which is going to have among a few of the deaths that happened over the past few months and years, will have an impact on culture and society, and it will have a change. We will see a shift. Future historians will probably look at this, in 10, 15, 30 or so years and say that was the moment where it went from being very passive towards this enforced equality to more assertive, embracing the rage, we could say, in a bit of a poetic sense, where there was that mantra with a meme, don't look back in anger, like actually no, look forward in anger and make changes you want to see in the society. That's happening, and that's the rejection of toxic equality. We could say toxic equality with regards to it's enforced. Me and this other person, we are politically equal, and yet I have done, created, achieved, built, worked, focused, and yet this person hasn't done those things, and yet we're equal. That's the ethos. I think that's going to change in the next decade, next preceding 2 decades at least. And that is one of the three main predictions I have. Equality will be seen as naive and a bit dangerous and a bit old and archaic. I also think the death penalty is on its way back. That's going to be very interesting to see in the West. I think that's going to be 30 years from now. 15 years is a bit of a push, a bit fast. 30 years from now, depending on a few things, yeah, quite easily. And I also think that voting as well, voting will be seen as more prestigious. It'll be seen as more unique, and it'll be salutable, and it'll be more of a prestigious thing, more of an elitist thing to say you can only vote if you have X, Y, Z, A, B, and C. And when someone in the future says, I voted, that'll raise attention. Oh, wow, well, let me buy a pint for you, sir, out of respect or whatever else, admiration, because it'll be quite prestigious. There'll be all sorts of requirements for it, and it'll be seen as quite a valuable thing, a very productive, valuable contribution to society. And it's a proxy. I did loads of videos on this in the past. It'll be a proxy of your value as well, hence the meritocracy bit as well, to say people will instinctively know that you can only vote if you have X, Y, Z, A, B, and C. And for someone to actually have voted, this is 15, 30 years from now, that will be an indication, proxy. So let's go deeper. We could say, the way the world is going right now, this idea here is a kind of the aftermath, and how equality and equal rights would be seen as naive. The result of which are, so we could see, so we can see nowadays how on social media a lot of people, we see videos about how people behave, and it seems to be a mismatch between reality and what we see in society and culture in these videos consistently versus what politically is enforced or talked about, or the mantra, the ethos and the frame, the founding legend, we could say, that defines this epoch. That is shifted, that's melting, that the map and territory don't match. The map being what people are told, what's supposed to be reality, here, the maps, the Google Maps, and yet what we see in front here with our eyes, what we see happening in society, that mismatch. That breaking down, that mismatch is that breaking down of mismatch is causing all sorts of distortions. And compound that with, say, burning goodwill, because about a month or so ago I did a video burning goodwill. Culturally, socially, politically, you burn enough goodwill, you piss people off, basically. So you could say, right, well, this people over there, those over here, this society, this culture has destroyed goodwill within the confines of, say, another country. What do you think is going to happen? What kind of backlashes are there going to be? Remember, what is it again? A rejection of toxic equality. Interesting. I did a video in the past talking about how I think equality will be seen as naive, and in the future. Fair enough, okay. So the real lesson here is not hierarchy good, egalitarianism bad. It is moral equality does not erase rank, competence, taste, initiation, or earned authority. Moral equality, imposed equality, toxic equality, we could really start saying and using now. Everyone has dignity, but not everyone has standing. Confusing those two is where modern people get themselves, now this is a powerful phrase actually, socially killed, meaning to say you start muddling, you start mixing between everyone's equal and ignoring competence, ignoring merit, and that's going to have, cause all sorts of social issues. So the lesson is not to be cruel, not to worship elites, not egalitarian is false. The lesson is you have equal human dignity by default. Okay, fair enough. Especially we could say we can go deeper in the Christian ethos, that way, the Christian frame we find ourselves in. You do not have equal standing by default. That's that meritocracy we talked about. Standing must be earned inside each system. Fair enough. No toxic equality. So the brutal truth is most rooms are not democracies. They are courts. Some obvious, some hidden. A family is a court, a business is a court, a dating market is a court, a Bitcoin circle is a court, a publishing industry is a court, a foreign country is a court, a rich social network is a court, a woman's family is a court, YouTube audience is a court, local professional classes here is a court, and each of them silently asking, who are you, who vouches for you, what have you done, do you understand our codes, can you be trusted, are you useful, do you know when to speak and when to shut up? Human nature. People talk morally, they act on rank, and it's that distinction, that distortion, that rejection almost, that denial of ability to embrace rank, meritocracy, competence, and being forced to embrace a DEI has caused many distortions, and there's a reversion to the mean that's happening. These distortions, I did a video about this, 2 or so years ago, these chaos points, too many misallocation of decisions, time, energy, money, and it creates too many distortions, and that creates a mismatch between reality, again, the flaw in the map, the territory in the map, creates too many distortions. People get frustrated, they notice these distortions, and what happens eventually is that there's a reversion, so there's a snap. There is a reversion to the mean. If this is the mean, if this is normality, so to speak, in the loosest terms, and over time, over decades, we could say, you deviate from that normality, it goes so far forward, so far in one direction, for example, this direction, this hand is loose, it's not indicative of political direction, goes over there, it creates too many distortions, meaning it pisses people off, or it burns too much goodwill, or people's reality is not what they're told on the news or social media. That causes a backlash. This and that backlash is often overcompensating, a little bit over here as well. So it corrects and it goes a little excess. And the excess is inertia depending on the zeitgeist, the momentum, the energy, the ethos, the time, the place, you name it, the society. And it's slowly happening. And I generally think that the Henry Novak death is possibly that watershed moment. So the core lesson here for life is you should stop thinking only in terms of freedom, sovereignty and optionality. They're good, but the next level is legibility within serious hierarchies. Okay. To say, the next stage is learning how to move through existing courts, or we could say societies and cultures, without looking like a clever barbarian at the gate. Because that's the danger, okay? Hierarchy is encoded socially before it's explained verbally. Meaning, as societies are changing from from forced equality, toxic equality, to meritocracy, these are the kind of things you have to be conscious of. Not just what we're leaving, not just what's happening, but also where we're going. Understanding that we are entering a world that is more meritocratic, meaning there's a focus on meritocracy, there's a focus on skill, there's a focus on talent, there's a focus on your ability. If this idea of equality is going to be rejected over the next 15, 30 or so years, what are you then going to use to judge people on? If it's not going to be culturally enforced via some institution, example government, then it's going to be individually. It could even it could even be as deep as stereotypes. Yeah, human nature fundamentally. But that's a question for the societies in the West in 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years to solve and tackle and deal with. So we could then go deeper. The world does not care about the vision until the vision is proof. So people judge consistency, polish, local calibration, reliability, discretion, social proof, money handled well, promises fulfilled, introductions earned, calm under pressure, whether respectable people trust you or not, which is the halo effect really. Find your archetype. Build. Yes. Do not enter a system and immediately think, here's how I should redesign this, but where are the invisible laws? Who's the authority, the reward? What do they punish? What do they punish? What do they exalt? What do they exalt? What do they exile? In some deep way, you're going to be more on your own in the future. Not so much isolated, but there's going to be a bigger focus on meritocracy, a rejection of mediocrity, an embracing of meritocracy, a rejection of toxic equality, and an embracing of consistency, rank, performance, skill, talent, reputation. I did some videos as well a year and a half ago talking about how your online presence is a living portfolio. That's going to be vital. You're either going to be fully embracing online or fully rejecting it in some fashion. Either one can be used against you to pros and cons, but that's the world we're entering. Don't be naive. And that's one thing I've talked about as well actually a lot here is shed naivety. If the world is going to embrace meritocracy, embrace meritocracy. Don't fight the tide on this kind of stuff. If the world is rejecting DEI, what is it? Diversity, equality and inclusion. If that's being rejected, just how what's it called? GSI, GSM was rejected, or slowly kind of just shooed away. I forget what it's called now. Social responsibility in terms of companies. That's on it. That's more or less gone. I don't hear that being talked about anymore. What's on the horizon? A rejection of toxic equality, and I think in the long term, the capital death penalty and voting will be seen as more prestigious and more difficult to have. Will be seen as higher, as in there'll be more restrictions, social restrictions, standards. Yes, standards are coming back. The dignity is coming back. Because in one meta way, we could say that the rejection of dignity has occurred over the past, 5, 7, 10 years, something like that. That's on its way back. Decorum's on its way back. Oof. I wouldn't be surprised, even at a deeper level, there will be there'll be a bit of a business trend where people will be learning. We'll have elocution lessons, and even learning how to behave in polite society. So I learned recently that unless you're introduced to someone in a casual social setting, it's sir, and madam. That's going to come back. Wow, imagine that. That's on its way. That's going to come back in some cultural form, because a bit of history now. We could say that over the past, I don't know, 60 or so years, there was a slight degradation of sex, basically, and it was this runaway sexual deviancy that happened. To put it extremely simple, and I think what's going to happen with the turning point is that there's going to be the opposite. There's going to be a runaway, I don't know, sexual conservationism in some fashion, where it's going to be not having runaway decadency, so to speak, but runaway elegance, I guess the right word would be. Who's more posher, so to speak? Who's more elegant? Who's more elegantly dressed? Which woman has a nicer body? There was a recent Miami Swim Week. Things like that are going to be re-emerging. Yeah. Pride Month this year seems to have been rejected socially. What else is going to happen? People are going to be competing socially on videos to say who has got the most manners, who is the least rude, who has the better elocution, who has better pronunciation, who has better King's English or Queen's English. Who speaks English better, who has better manners. I wouldn't be surprised if that's going to be on the horizon, and there'll be videos about who wore tuxedo best, videos like that, or who wore this, I don't know, this pencil dress silk skirt best, things like that. There'll be runaway competition, purity. It's the opposite of oh god, what are they called? Those signals, vanity, projection, signal. I forgot what they're called now. When people pretend and profess to be really pure, I forgot what they're called. There'll be those, but the more conservative elements of it. Vanity, projection. I forgot what it's called right now. So I forgot. It's that one where people pretend to be. Oh wow! I totally forgot what it's called. Not vanity projection. Social. I forget what it's called. But people will be competing. You know how people today, they compete on who is most oppressed. Vanity signal. I forgot what it's called. People who is most oppressed. It'll be the opposite. People who is most successful. Who is most wise. Oh, I read 10 books this week. Things like that. That's going to be embraced and perpetuated via social media and then talked about and spread. We're seeing a hell of a cultural turning point. Virtue signaling, that's it, virtual signaling. Virtue signaling, and what's the opposite of that? We'll see things like that happening over the preceding, who knows when. And even at a deeper level, we'll see people pursue and want to have better vocabulary as well. You know, adroit. What does adroit mean? And how can we use it? Or superfluous. Who can use superfluous most naturally in a sentence? Things like that. That stuff's on its way. And that's going to slowly creep and perpetuate and be visible in the culture and on social media. Yeah. Powerful stuff. But otherwise, Adrian's daily vlog, sharing smart stuff men should know. Subscribe for more, and you will see me tomorrow.